Hello, welcome. Coming up on today's Retro Robin Show, we go back to the very early days of Crash. Yes, issue number 1. We have a look at something that come from Russia, from a nice girl by the name of Natasha. And of course we're going to have some more Commodore versus Spectrum. So join me now on the Retro Robin Show as I get a little bit older. Yeah, I'm 49. Would you believe it? I don't believe it. And as always, remember to like, share and subscribe if you like the show. Let's hit the tolls. Hello, welcome to the Retro Robin Show with me, Wayne Retro Robbins, and today we're going back to the very early years of Crash. Yes, issue number 1, February 1984. Also, we'll be doing some more Commodore, and we'll be re-reviewing the re-reviews from out of that Crash issue as well, and having a look to see if they stand the test of time. And we got some new stuff come through, especially from Russia, of all places, and we're going to have a look at that now, so join me. And as you can see, I'm working here, different view today, but we will change to the normal view that you're used to, so don't worry about that. What we're going to do, first of all, I'm going to show you a few things I've been working on using the 3D printer that I've recently obtained. I'm an expert learning it though. So we're going to focus on my desk here now. I'm just going to alter the camera for you. Right, and I'll show you what I've been working on. Now I've been trying to salvage that. And of course I've had to solder a new edge connector on, as you know. You've probably seen me post this on Facebook. So I need to print a case for it. So the first case I printed, as you can see, is quite holey. Not very good. Not very good at all. But it was only a prototype to see if I could get that to fit into there. Which, yeah, and it did. So now I need to print a new one of those. And I came up with this. Nice solid design, and of course slightly wider in certain parts, so as I've got more coverage. And I wanted it to be tight, so I got it nice and tight so as it actually was squeezed into place. And the tightness of the, and of course I've allowed the extra mill that I mentioned as well. So that's nice and tight, and I thought, well, that's okay, it's not bad. But I wasn't going to be satisfied with that. I wanted to put a lid on it, so on my first attempt at printing a lid was this one. As you can see, I've got Retro Robins on it because obviously, however, as you can see, it's not quite a fit. I want to make these a little bit smaller, a bit more snug, and I've got to move this across slightly, but once that's complete, that will be quite flush. And also, because this circuit board here sticks up just a fraction, I've had to do an in-cut on the inside, which I will now allow to make it look as flat as possible, and hopefully that will be a complete peripheral. And of course, once it's all done, and I've cleaned up all the electronics inside, and I've isopropyl alcoholed everything here to give it a nice clean edge connector and connections here. I will just probably glue that in place, either using glue stick or maybe even a spot of super glue. So as we'll have a complete unit saved for hopefully somebody else, because I'm not planning on keeping it. So let's move all this out of the way. I've got a package that's arrived today, and I've already cut a couple of the cuts. However, I've got to cut down here a little bit. And hopefully, oh, it'll come open quite easy, we can have a look inside. It's from Natasha. So, it comes very well packaged indeed. And there's a letter inside, so let's just slip that letter out first of all. Oops, upside down. Dear Wayne, thank you for buying our products. Blah 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 blah. Okay, no problem. I understand that. Thank you, Natasha. And here it is. CD version of this game here. Oops, the back's on it. Ah, well, so you flip it round that way. Okay. Drift. I'm just having a look at the packaging experience here. It's a really nice looking product. And if you're a Spectrum collector, this is something you'd need to invest into these sort of products really, because they're all part of the Spectrum now and they're still developing software. Trying to be as gentle as possible, lifting the lid off. It's not always easy to record and be gentle. That's a nice solid lid. It's well made, very nicely packaged. And the first thing we get, oh look at that. Oh, look at the cassette. Nice orange cassette. And it's obviously branded. No stickers, that's actually on the actual cassette case itself. Clear cassette case, you can pull out the instructions. Just put that down there for a second. Oh, that's beautiful. Nice bit of product, certainly worth the investment. So if you're going to buy and you're going to back some coders or people that are still making stuff for the Spectrum today, as you can see they've spared no expense. They've made sure that everything's well packaged. And inside here, just knock off these tapes, you get a little poster. Beautiful. Which I'm going to keep rolled up for now because I don't know why, but even though it's there to be used and displayed, I like to keep it safe. Oh, I suppose that's just me. Right, that's staying rolled up anyway, so I'm not going to put the band on it. Then you've got the in-game themes on a CD. Drift, Final Run. Nice. Then you've got the data or CD-ROM, if you like. I think it's CD-ROM, I'm not 100% sure. Of the tap, booklet, English and Russian instructions. I'll put that to one side. And then, of course, with the nice clear back to show the pictures. Well done indeed. You get a great booklet. Drift. And I will review the game again at a later date. I've already done one review and I really enjoyed it, to be fair. But yeah, and that's what you get from that package. So, what else is going on? Obviously I'm going to try and 3D print a case for that. And of course I'm going to try and 3D print a case for this, which is of course the diagnostics card. I've got a printer case that goes round and underneath to cover up all those. I mean at the moment those feet are what I've put on. That plugs into the peripheral to test it. Gives you the 12 minus 5 plus 9 and plus 12. So it's plus 5 minus 5 plus 9 plus 12 volts. Tells you there, and of course that's a diagnostic card with the reset and the NMI button just there. So let's move back to the main part of the show. On with today's first re-review with the very first game that was reviewed in Crash Magazine back in February 1984. So let me tell you a little bit about the game and we'll go to it now. We'll go straight to the snapshot. The game is of course Odyssey 1. Didn't have a loaded screen originally, but there it is. So while we wait, we can tell you a bit about the percentages. A total of 7 percentages in this particular magazine. Hopefully that gets issued down to just the basic 5 percentages later on in the magazine's life, as you all know. Use of computer 60%, graphics 60%, playability is 80%, getting started 72%, that's how easy it is to get in the game. Addictive quality is 83%, value for money 75%, overall rating 72%. Of course it was £5.50 and the author was T. Williams. It was also a 16k game. Straight away you've got the keys, which is caps and Z, which is great for the rubber keyboard user because all the keys are in the right place. Obviously with Spectrum Plus, you know, some of the keys are a bit awkward. Or shall we say for the earlier games. The later edition of the computer for the earlier games, the spacebar is used as a fire rather than the M, so that means your thumb has to be broken into words there, so you can go Q, P, L and M. Some people are good with that, not me. Let's have a look at the game. You've just got a simple thrust, fire and rotate left and right. You come up with this particular screen here. and any minute now we'll get going. That's the loading screen for the re-release version. The original one, just please wait, loading rather than a loading screen. And straight away we're into the game here. We got usual keys, so let's get started, shall we? It's a bit slow. Okay, straight away I need to fire at something. I thrust it into it. Ah, there's a fire. Have to destroy all these little bad guys, shall we say. Oh, and you can crash into the wall. The game itself's not too difficult. I'm surprised I've survived that, but when they're flashing they don't want to be destroyed, but when they're not flashing you can destroy those. Do you get points for them? Probably, yes. And hopefully we'll get through this first level. It is a code game, even though it looks basic. It moves in a blocky sort of sequences, and of course you can if you're any good you can hit a few of these ships that are flying by. Ships or rockets, I don't know. Obviously you got to, they get lower each time, so you got to sort of thrust through the gap. Don't stay still too long. Oh, and you can only thrust so high. So that was the first game from 1984, the very first game we reviewed, and it got a good percentage rating of 72%. Well, it's hard to re-rate something for its particular period. Maybe recently, nowadays it wouldn't even get a 30% rating, but give it its fair due. I'm going to give it a marks out of 10 as always, which is what I do, so I'm going to give that a 5 out of 10, and it's not too bad. So let's move on to the next game. So the next game we're going to review is Zaxxon. Don't know if it's the official Zaxxon by US Gold. I don't think so, because it's got Silver Zone was the producers. The retail price was £5.50, and the author was N. Marden. Oops. Use of computer 80%, graphics 70%, playability 68%, getting started 68%, addictive quality 70%, value for money 80%, overall rating was 74%. Shall we have a look at the game then? And this was a 48k game, no 16k, there you go. So it tells you the K is for keyboard, J for joystick, I think, because I happen to have the joystick handy. And it's not lying in its usual position, which is on the floor, because I usually knock it off. Oops. Pushed in. I think we'll go for Kempston joystick. And I don't know if I've selected that or not, because nothing's happening, but yeah. We'll press S to start. Oh my life. Get up! Down is for up, and up is for down, is it? Okay. It's an early version of Zaxxon, and it did get quite a high percentage. Although I have to say, it's not too bad, is it really? The later version of Zaxxon was definitely better done, but oddly enough, I like the little effective time. See if we can get a little bit further. Things do blow up when you hit them. Oh, that was a bit confusing. And I've only got 2 ships left, so I'm just going to try and fly through a few things. Yes. A little bit confusing there. That must be... oh, them lasers going on, but I'm well above them. Oh, got hit by one. Okay, that was an early game from 1984, so yeah, that was not a bad rating for them. Would it get that sort of rating nowadays? Is it basic? No, it's code obviously, but it's moving in blocky sequences, of course. Well done, your thanks. Got my name up. I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10. Considering the time date, let's move on to another game. Not too bad. These are the early days, remember, so you can't expect a lot. I'm just going through my old files here just to have a look to see what we've got. I'm looking for the game that isn't a Crash Smash because it didn't quite make well, it did actually, but this was before Crash gave smashes. The game I'm looking for is Soft Solid 3D Anti-Tac by Quicksilver, and of course the author was Sandy White. Its overall rating was 92%, and I was hoping to review it on today's show. However, I'm probably going to have to come back to that one because I can't seem to find it anywhere. I'm going to have to go on the TZX files and see if it's there available, or maybe it's not available anymore, who knows, but we can come back to that. So let's move on to another game instead, and we'll bypass that one. We're going to have a look at Mission Impossible, and there's a couple of these that have been done, but this particular one is by that particular producer there, Silversoft, which is a 16k game according to this, and the author was Jeremy Brown, not to be confused with James Brown. Wow! I feel bad. No, not that particular one. Okay, use of computer for 80%, graphics 70%, playability 85%, getting started 80%, addictive quality is 85%, value for money 80%, overall rating 80%. So for the 16k game, that's quite a good rating. We'll have a look at it, shall we? Now with 16k games, we're going to go straight for the snapshot. Shall we have a look? See if there's a loading screen first of all. Well, let's go for 48k timings. Obviously no loading screen because it would have showed me there and then. 1983 this came out, reviewed in 1984. And we've got the options of K for keyboard, J for joystick, which is Kempston. And this is the game itself. So let's give it a go and give it a try. It looks like it's... So obviously you've got to try and get through this sort of minefield of ships and land again up there. Give it another go. So the first thing you do is... Oh, dear me. Is there a thrust? Quickest death ever. It's so quick the way it starts, it catches you out. Now, I'm going to go that way first of all. Oh, see you. This is tough. I managed it first time round and I can't... Maybe I am not hitting the thrust button. Surely there must be a thrust. It drops me straight. It's a bit random the way it starts, isn't it? Oh, nearly made it through that time. Made it through and landed on rocky terrain. Oh! Am I improving? I did it. Yes! No! Ah, right, you can slow it down with a little bit of thrust. Gotcha. It doesn't show a thrust though. But can you slow it down by pulling? Strangely enough, it's like Flappy Bird, it's really addictive but hard. I landed. Oh, come on, that... Yes! No! That's the best I've done there. Yeah, okay then. What do I make of that? Strangely enough, I kind of like it. And it is kind of impossible. Perhaps it's... appropriately named for the difficulty of the game. Jeremy. Whatever happened to some of these coders from back in the early days? Who knows? I'm sure they're probably around somewhere. Perhaps they're on Facebook and they're part of the Spectrum community, but I just don't recognise their name, or perhaps they don't bother with the system anymore and they've moved on to different things. It'd be nice if they took an early interest like they did there and then. Okay, so it was an overall rating of 7 out of 10 by Crash, effectively 73%. Wouldn't get that nowadays, obviously, but back then it might have been a bit disappointing value for money wise, because it was so tough. You wait to load this and find out it was really hard. But yeah, okay, in that reasoning I'm going to give that 50-50. I'm going to give that 5 out of 10. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. Perhaps it's one that you'd like to try yourself. It's a little bit like Flappy Bird, however, yeah, it's like a reverse version of Frogger where you're jumping on the rocks, except here you're navigating through gaps or down through gaps. You can fire on the way up, however that's completely useless because you won't destroy anything because you don't have time to. But yeah, cool. Move on to the next game then, shall we? So the next game we're going to look at, it's got a big title, The Warlock of Fire Mountain. Puffin Books was the software producer. Puffin Books. Retail price was £6.95. Use of computer 60%, graphics 75%, playability 78%, and getting started 75%, addictive quality 65%, value for money 85%, overall 73% rating. That's pretty similar to the last one, so let's have a look at this. And I think we'll go for the tap file. And as it was 1984, we've got to go for the 48K version. Let's see if we've got a loading screen or not. Okay, it's an adventure game. Wow, look at those for keys. Reminds me of the BBC Micro. ZX M&N space. Oh, AQ. You really need to write all these down. Face up, face left, face down. I think we could use the interface too for those keys, couldn't we? C to choose a door. Oh my hell. Space to continue, okay. Please wait. Oh, I see. Oh, look how fast he moves. So C fires. M&N is the up and down. But once you get used to the keys, it's not too bad. It's quite a big maze, isn't it? And I seem to have found a dead end already. So I could be here for a long time trying to get around here. Looking for some action. There's something there you must have to go through towards the end. Ah. Oh dear, someone's attacking me. Oh, he's me. Come on. Die. He moved, you scored nil. That's a good score for me. To try again. Took me so long to work out what to do. Now I'm just gonna oh, I see, you gotta hold them. Oh, there's an nasty there. So you've got to find a key, I presume. Oh. He walked through the door, why can't I? That's not fair, is it? Look. Oh, come on, I've shot him. Run! Anyway, now he's going to come up this way, isn't he? Oh, I'm ready to die. I hate impossible games. Ah. I'm a coward, I'm running for it. Was this a dead end? Please don't be a dead end. I'll make a final stand. Oh, I killed him! I killed him last minute, I killed him. I was done for there, wasn't I? Look how much energy I've got left. Is there anything I can find? Smallest man in the world, and he was nearly the end of me. Look at that. It's just amazing how fast it changes screens. Ball 3 point. Used in full effect here. I feel lost. I feel trapped, claustrophobic and lost at the same time. I've been up here, haven't I? It was a dead end. Oh, I feel like I'm running in circles. Okay, should we give it a rating? Look, there's too many dead ends here. How come I can't go through there? Face door, open door. I've got no key, so I've got to find a key. Okay, well, I ain't got all day to play that, but we'll give it a rating anyway. So, The War Like a Fire Mountain by Puffin Books. Got an overall rating of 73%. Hopefully we'll get that today. Just tried to press brakes. Oh. If you press brake, you can... Look at that. It's got a fake new. Then it starts again. Okay, I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10. Why not? Because it was the early days, 1983. The computer had literally been out in a year. But for the sizeable map and for what it does, we can't knock it. So, cool. So let's move on to today's last re-review of the first issue of Crash from February 1984. And it's a classic, it's an adventure game. It's by Legend. You can probably already see it highlighted there. One of my favourite adventure games. I don't do text adventures, never was my forte. But I gave this a good play and got into it, so yeah. Use of computer 94%, graphics 95%. Before we move on, let's go for the appropriate file. And this works in 1 to 8K mode as well. 1983 this was released, believe it or not. But reviewed in Crash 1984. And the loading screen is simple, basic, but brilliant at the same time. I love that, to be fair. That brings to me nostalgia. It hits me right there. As it sets up the scenery. So, playability was 90%, getting started 95%. Now notice these are all high ratings, aren't they? 94, 95, 90 and 95. Oh, one more thing. Well, it took some drawing up, didn't it? That value for money 55%. I can understand why. Overall rating 81.5%. That was the one more thing. Crash kind of abandoned the half percentage rating, but there they gave it 81.5%. But then that was their first issue, I suppose. There was issues before that, I believe, that was online. And of course, you know this game. If you haven't played this game for an adventure text, it's really quite good. There's not a lot to it apart from eat, kill, get sword, get shield, go north the way north is block, go east the way east is block, kill Loki. Loki defeats you and you end up in the halls of hell. Let's have a look, shall we say, get wine. Are you watching me move now? I'll get some wine. When he responds. And to go north, you just have to press N, it will go that way. The first screen is where it all starts to happen quite a lot. The way north is blocked, okay. So let's try save, shall we? It can get quite annoying. This is where you need a piece of graph paper, a pen and a paper, and you can draw your map out as you go along. East then. West is always best. Go west! Yeah, that's a... Perhaps it loads the Pet Shop Boys. Tells you where you are, the location you're in. Right, we can get the sword, shall we? I think you can shortcuts actually. They'll probably say, well, no ravens here, more wine. There is no S here. And you can put the swear words in, then it'll tell you don't understand. We've tried it, haven't we all? Right, so overall rating was 81.5%, effectively 8 out of 10. Quite expensive, wasn't it, at £14.95 back in 1983. Legend Software, they certainly did. Use of computer was quite highly rated at 94, graphics 95, playability 90, getting started 95, but addictive qualities let it down at 60%. Well, that depends on the point of view. I know I've read these ratings out already, but quick recap. Value for money went down to 55%, so it only got 81. Was it a crash smash by right? Well, for that time, you know, text adventures are great, but to have graphic background on text adventures, this was quite new, because before it was just words. It was really rare that you saw images to go with the words and movement to go with the images. So for instance, as you can see, she's a bit, you know, it sort of has it's a slow moving game, but nonetheless it's a good game. It's just what it is, and I kind of liked it, so I'm going for that reason. I'm giving it a high rating. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. So let's move on to today's Spectrum versus Commodore, a feature that some people really enjoy and some people not so much. And remember that everything today is run on real hardware. I'm using a real Commodore, I'm using a real Spectrum, no emulation in sight, and you know, remember also this is only a matter of opinion. Your opinion may differ, but I do try to keep an unbiased decision. So on with today's main feature. Timed it well there with the music, eh? Okay, so the first game we're going to review on Commodore versus Spectrum, we're going for Spectrum version first. We'll just pause the voice out in a moment. Is Eyeball by Firebird. Get rid of that AY sound. There's your loading screen. You know it loads in blocks and takes forever because it's a bleep loader. The most hideous loading system ever created for the Spectrum, and that is my personal opinion. And I'm sure I'm not on my own in that one as well. So, shall we have a bit of volume? I think indeed we shall. I haven't turned the sound up yet, have I? So, hopefully we've got a bit more sound now. We're going to go for Kempston. No, still no sound. We better rectify that, hadn't we? Oh, we got the sound back on. Just in the nick of time to give us a proper review. Bleeper sound. Just letting a bit of the demo show. Firebird software. It says Eyeball in a minute. What? Okay, we've all played this game. Oh, I need to get that. No, I don't need to get it. Just got to get from top without dying, haven't you? I haven't played this in a long time. But when I eventually did play it, it was using the multi-phase one and lots of pokes. So don't expect me to be any good at it because I'm rubbish. And I'll make no apologies for it, but... it's horrible. Good thing is you don't start from right at the start, you start roughly where you die. I'm catching up from behind, I couldn't... If I'd have pulled down I'd have died. I should have gone for the keyboard. Game over. I'll tell you what. I want another go now because I was so rubbish with that one. But let's be honest. Let's move on to the Commodore version, which, incidentally, I have already got prepared, and I can't get any worse than that. So here's the Commodore version coming up. Plugging my joystick from one to the other. And the big difference is you've got sound at the start here rather than just the bleeper sound. It is very good, to be fair. I do like this one, I must admit. It's a little bit easier to play than the Spectrum one. Scrolling's really good. Bit of an unfair start there though, has to be said. And I've already got further right? Yes, I have. You get a little bit longer as well to get up the screen before you die. There, it's not a bad game at all. It's a little bit less harder to control actually. And I've actually completed the level on the Commodore one. I couldn't do that on the Spectrum. In fact, I didn't get very far at all. So, which one of the two is the better version? Well, on the Commodore, if you notice at the top part of the screen is in use as well, there's like a note at the top. So it's actually in the border zone of the, you know where the border would be for the Spectrum? Well, that's actually got graphics printed at the top there as well, which is quite amazing. So it's going to influence my verdict, but here comes my verdict. You caught me with another go. It has to be, didn't it? Commodore, no doubt, it's fine. I wouldn't say by far the better version, but the Spectrum version was good, apart from the loading. But it was a more fun version, a little bit, I don't know, more arcadey feel to it than the Spectrum version. So Commodore wins. So let's move on to the next game. So there's the Commodore loading screen of a classic game that we're going to have a look at between the Spectrum and the Commodore version to see which one is the best. And at first glance, the loading screen on the Commodore doesn't look to be any more different than the Spectrum one. But we can test that. So let's have a look while this is loading, which we've got a long way to go yet, so we'll have time to do this hopefully. We'll go down to the Spectrum, to which I have got the file selected. Alright, we're going to go for the tap file, aren't we? Yeah. 1985, eh? Right, so we're going to wait at the loading screen just so as we can have a brief look at it. And I don't think it has a problem working in 128K mode. So there's the Spectrum loading screen. And of course that means this is loaded, so we'll leave it at that for now. Let's have a look at the Commodore one. And I've got a funny feeling this could be really hard to call. So there's the Commodore loading screen. There isn't a difference, is there? Slightly more different blues in the Commodore version. And it's loaded already. Oh, that was fast, wasn't it? So let's give the Commodore version a go. And remember, if you remember the last time I played this, well, you can remember every time I played this. Oh, I like that. You can actually redefine the keys on the Commodore. You very rarely see that. So we want controls, joystick or fork. We'll go for joystick anyways, that's it. And 6 to start. Let's give it a go then. Like that. And to be fair, it does feel like an early arcade machine. But it's not bad at all. Nice explosion, nice effect that is, isn't it? Yeah. This, I say, was going to be a tough call, but I've got to get 2 guns now instead of 1. Pick a target, it should be the best ship of the lot, shouldn't it? Oh! Oh, I forgot they come from underneath. You got a thrust, haven't you? Dead to be last life already. I'm doing better with 1 life. Are they going to come from underneath? Oh, these are the disappearers. I'm doing okay. I don't know how. Oh, God, that was quick. Whoa, that was fast. I couldn't blink and you'll miss it. Them boulders were quick. How did anybody ever get around that shit? Whoa, bosher. Okay, let's have a look at the Spectrum version now. I've showed how rubbish I am at the Commodore one, and which is inevitable. How fast was that? I can't believe it. You don't chance to. I suppose you'd have to remember it was coming, wouldn't you? I need to change the joystick over. Excuse me 1 moment. So, I don't need the joystick really for this, do I? Oh, it's much the same, isn't it? Redefine the keys, joystick, and on this occasion I'm going to redefine the keys. Lift, right, fire. I didn't need to use that, did I? No, we'll try again. Left, right, fire, and hold. Okay, abort. Yes, we'll do that again. I've just realised you might need space and enter for something else, so left, right, fire. I'm going to go for the M button, hold A, and abort A. Yes. Okay, let's start the game. And as long as I know where fire is, just hit fire rapidly. Well, apart from the explosion's as good as can be on the Spectrum, not bad at all. The explosion is good of the ships getting disintegrated by my incredible accuracy. Where is he? Okay, I'm scared. Go away. Oh, die. Just ship, please. Yes. Intense concentration again. By the retro. Oh, I'm just too good, ain't I? Hey, I knew they'd come from underneath. Did you see that there? Take it. The sprite wise, there is a difference, right? And it's a small one, it's going to be picking flies, but I've got to judge them. So, oh, you have to dock here, don't you? I didn't get to that part with the other one, did I? And you've only got a certain amount of time to... Oh, I'm going to crash! Too easy. You've never heard me say that before. I didn't have to dock the other one because I'd lost all my ships by that particular point. Ah, now there's a speed difference here because this is a bit slower than the... Oh yeah, forgot. This is for the bonus, isn't it? Because you can lose a life for this. Okay, what am I going to say about these? I consider I'm doing really well. Really well. I'm going to carry on playing. Now that was the first time I played the Commodore version, to be quite honest, so I didn't expect it. Far out! Far out! I found my forte. Here comes my verdict. Yeah. I like the fact the larger sprites, and it looks a bit more like the arcade. The explosion is just as good, slightly larger on the Spectrum screen, and once again it's using quite a lot of the screen display area. And on this occasion I'm doing better than I did the first time round. But then that was the first time I played it, so I gave it a big longer go before I continued. A bit more effective. The Spectrum version is great, don't get me wrong, it's brilliantly done for the time. But the Commodore just reminds me of something you'd play on an arcade machine. It's just, you know, it is more... The dual colours in the sprites help, and Spectrum version ones as well. It was a fine line to choose between them, but on this occasion I chose the Commodore version, and it's a dual hit for the Commodore, I'm afraid. But I have to be honest, and that is only opinion after all. I do hope you enjoyed today's show. If you do, please remember to like, subscribe, share, hit the bell if you want to hear more of these shows going on, or just, if you don't want to, just you watch them at your own leisure as light entertainment. And I appreciate your subscription, of course. It encourages me to carry on, and I know that people enjoy, as long as I'm entertaining, it's a little light-hearted fun. The Retro Robin Show, that's all it is, a bit of everything. So yeah, thank you for watching. In the meantime, have a nice working week or weekend. Of course, it's my birthday this Wednesday coming, and which could be today when I release this video. I'm planning on releasing it on my birthday, so who knows. In the meantime, take care and bye for now.